The OHL Priority Selection has wrapped up, so it's time to check in with head coach and general manager Mike McKenzie. Mike, thanks for joining us again. I know we talked last night about how day one went for you. Day two, you had 7 forwards, 2 defensemen, 2 goalies. Your overall thoughts on how day two went for the Rangers.
Yeah, we were pretty happy overall. I think if you asked all teams, they're usually pretty happy as soon as it ends, and everyone feels like they got guys they liked, obviously, because they made the picks. And the real true test will be in a couple of years when you look back. But no, I think we're pretty happy. We got a pretty good mix of guys, good mix of different types of players, good mix of some different positions, couple goalies. So yeah, overall, I think it was went pretty well, and we were happy with how it all turned out.
Were there any, standouts today that you had specifically targeted that you were rather surprised to see available at the point that you got them?
Yeah, I think in the 4th round, Matthew Andonovski was an important pick for us, just because we had him kind of circled as one of the top defensemen at that point, and we really felt that once he was selected, there was a little bit of a dip there, and so we were really happy to select him real quickly with the 4th round early on at the start of the day. And then I thought we got 2 really good American players that are committed to going to the U.S. program for a couple of years, and guys that are pretty high-end players that we can kind of monitor and see how things go in the next couple of years. And then in terms of the goaltenders, we got 2 guys that were both really high on our list, and in Monaco and Dubé, that we didn't really expect either one of them to be available, but both ended up being available at those times. So, and then sprinkled throughout that, you get players like a guy like Dylan McFadden and some of the other guys we picked. I don't have time to name all of them, but all guys we really liked, all guys that we watched play and thought that there's a certain skill level and skill set there that they can come to camp and at least compete for spots this season and seasons beyond.
I had an opportunity, Mike, to talk to almost every draft pick doing these Rangers Vision interviews. One of the things that stood out to me is the sheer excitement of these players for coming to Kitchener. Now, I'm sure that's that way with most teams, that the players get drafted and there's excitement. But when you talk to these players, when you make the phone call, does that resonate with you to hear the excitement for them to come to Kitchener?
Yeah, it definitely does. I think not just even Kitchener, it's great to hear they're excited to come to Kitchener, but just in general being drafted, it's great to hear, any kid being drafted and the excitement they have, especially this year. It's been such a difficult year on a lot of the kids. Obviously not just, minor midget hockey players, but, we're talking about them today. So, they missed hockey. They missed the whole year of hockey almost. It was an up and down year. They were playing, they weren't playing. It was just such a unique situation. And you throw in online school and the yo-yoing of the school. And it's just been a really difficult time, I think, for a lot of kids, especially teenage kids that haven't had the outlets they usually have with recreational activities and hobbies and things like that being cut out of their life, and education and school being kind of cut out of their life in a certain way. So I think it's extra nice this year to hear some happy voices and some excitement of guys being selected, because it's been a difficult year for a lot of people. So it was extra nice to see that and hear that today.
Mike, you and I have talked about the draft a number of times, and you've described it to me kind of as your Christmas Eve, as you lead up to it. It's kind of what you build towards. So now that you finished, 3 hours last night and 7 hours today, are you ready for the post-Christmas dinner crash? Are you just exhausted from everything that's been happening the last couple of days?
Yeah, it's funny how you're just sitting there for a long period of time. So you shouldn't really feel tired. You're just sitting there. You're not really doing anything active. But at the end of the day, you always go home and it's just like you've been completely wiped out. Your brain's working overtime. It's nonstop thinking and squinting up at the screens and interacting with all the scouts and through Zoom and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely a really fun process, especially this year, since we've been out of the rinks for so long. It hasn't been a really social year to get that kind of social interaction with our scouts through Zoom and things like that. But yeah, at the end of the day, it is a long process, and you feel a little bit zapped at the end of the day. So I'm looking forward to chasing around 2 little kids shortly here to make sure I'm really tired for tonight. But no, all in all, it was a really fun day.
Mike, you talked about how nice it was to hear the excitement, especially after the last year and a half that we've all had. I just want to say, I'm getting a little tired of looking at your face on Zoom. I cannot wait to see you at the rink as soon as humanly possible. We're getting closer and closer to normalcy. Thanks so much for taking time, and get some rest after a great draft weekend for the Rangers.
Thanks, Sean. I look forward to it too. And hopefully see you soon at the in person at the Odd in the fall.